Basically, I'm just going to be doing my skincare routine and then my everyday makeup and also talking to you guys. First, I have to say that this type of content has been something that has been dropped in my spirit for a very long time, but I just don't get into it because, you know, I sort of just shy away from it. But I think it's about that time I started it. First, to kickstart this, I'm going to just use my lip product, and here I'm using this lip relief cream from Blistex. I had told you guys that my skin has been acting dry lately, so I'm doing a skincare routine for dry skin now. Can you believe that? So first I'm going to get in with my toner, and here I'm using the Supple Face Preparation Toner by the brand Klairs. I'm just going to take a few drops and then get into my skin with that. I had cleansed my skin with the La Roche-Posay facial wash. I'll probably pop up a picture so you see the one that I use. I have the one for combination to oily skin, so that was what I used. So in this video today, I wanted to talk to you guys about the concept of happiness and how to create a happier life for yourself. And for a start, I would like to say that happiness is not a destination. I'm sure that you've heard this before. There is always this thing in our head, oh, if I do this, I'm going to become happier. If I'm able to do this, I'll be happier. If I'm able to do this. But if you look into the past and the things that you've wanted to attain, whenever you attain them, it's just, you know, okay, we've gotten here, and it's almost like there's really nothing more, you know, there's really no much excitement. As much as you thought your life was going to change drastically because of that, your life could have changed, honestly, but you could just be in a place where we are humans, our needs are insatiable. You know, so we are always going to be in that place where we always want more. You wanted something, now you got it. I remember one time I wanted something so bad. I wanted it so much for a long time. This was over a year. I was wanting one thing for over a year, and then when I got it, I was so excited. And now when I look back at it, it's just one of those things that I got. So now that first toner has dried down, I'm going to get into my skin with the Peptaronic serum, and this is a peptide serum that just adds a lot of moisture to the skin, as well as helping to combat, you know, fine line and wrinkles on the skin. Like I was saying, you realize that as humans, your needs are always constantly growing. You have this, you want this one, now you get it, you want something else. Sometimes before you even get this one, you already want another thing. You can see that we would never be satisfied. So that is where we need to recognize that things will not mostly bring you that grounded happiness in life. So what now holds to happiness, or what can we now hold for our happiness? In that case, I would say contentment first. So at every level that you are in your life, you want to make sure that you are, you know, you build a spirit of contentment, so that whenever you're looking for something else, you don't tie your, should I say, your expectations to it in such a way that it ruins your life, or it ruins your mood, or it ruins, you know, your peace, your aura, if you don't attain it. Let things just be one of those things. Okay, I get it. Yes, I don't. Okay, we move on. Because this is a very easy way for you to lose your, should I say, your joy, your peace in your life, when you're constantly looking for something and you're never satisfied. So this is a concept that I'm also trying to work on, because I'm very spoiled naturally. So when I want something, if I don't get my way, I always just like feel like, and it's something that I hadn't really looked into, and then I just started looking into it not long ago, and then I'm realizing how much it has changed my life. So realizing that happiness is not a destination, or is not in something. Happiness is more of an attitude. You have to build an attitude of happiness if you must experience a happy life. If you think back into your own life, you would realize that it has always been the case as well. You're always going to constantly want something. So if material things and achievements and all of those things is what your happiness is going to anchor on, I feel like I would like to say to you that it is such a wrong approach to life if you want to be a happier person. I hope I'm not rambling. Now, speaking of contentment, when it comes to, you know, just being grounded, being level-headed in what you have until you can attain what you're hoping to get, You need to just build an attitude that just finds, you know, a ray of sunshine even in the most cloudy weather. So I'm going to go in now with my AHA BHA PHA 30 days miracle serum by the brand Some By Me. You guys have seen this before, so I'm just going to put that in my palm and I will just work that into my skin. So yeah, I have touched on the fact that happiness is not a destination. You would have to find a ray of sunshine in cloudy weathers. You would have to build a positive attitude that stays grounded no matter what is happening. And now the spirit of contentment is what would help you manage that part of your life. So now getting into the next points that I want to, you know, share for creating a happier life for yourself, and that would be managing your expectations. Now it is a great thing to have, you know, all these big goals, big expectations and all of that. In fact, we should. Motivational speakers will say that your dreams should actually scare you. While that is true, while you're building all of this, you know, life for yourself mentally and hoping to attain it, I want you to be able to manage your expectations at different points and at different times in your life. This is something that steals our joy a lot because we just expect a lot from things. We just expect a lot from people. Even in like social relationships and all of that, relationships with our family members, most times we expect too much from people, and when we don't get it, we just, you know, it just ruins things for us. It takes away our joy and all of that. Look, you can't expect too much from a human being, and you can't even expect too much from yourself. Think of the times that you have made decisions, you've trusted yourself to do something and you were not able to do it. Now you have your excuses why you couldn't get there, why you couldn't do that, and blah blah. That's also the same for other human beings as well. Now if you put your expectations on people too much, chances are people are never really going to meet your expectations, and even if they do, it's not all the time. So what happens in those times that they don't meet up with your expectations? You lose your joy, you lose your happiness, you're sad, you're in a bad place, you're depressed. It's only God that you can trust in like that. Like, you really can trust a human being. Like, human nature is feeble. Humans' emotions are feeble, you know. I don't know how to say this, but you can't base your happiness on another person's ability. Yeah, let me use that word, because it's gonna fail. Humans are humans, you know. And this is not to say that people around you could be bad when they don't meet your expectations and whatnot. You were the one that was not managing your expectations in the first place. Now, someone once told me that the way that he lives his life is that he expects nothing from anybody, and literally that is how he really lives his life. And at that point I was like, how can you say that you don't expect anything from anybody? There are certain expectations and whatnot and whatnot. As at then, I didn't get that conversation so well. As much as we do have expectations of certain people or certain things and all of that, but manage that expectation in the sense that if things don't go your way, if it doesn't happen that way, it doesn't steal your joy. For example, you're calling someone to help you pick up something at the store and blah blah blah, and on their way home they couldn't do that, and then all of a sudden it spoils your mood, your entire day. Things happen. Like, people are not always going to be able to come through. As adults, we need to understand that people could also be struggling with themselves. They could be going through things. You know, the way you struggle with yourself at certain points, and then you feel like you can't really accommodate anybody else at that point, especially when it has to do with your mental health. Things happen, and to be honest, there are people as well that are outrightly crappy, you know. So you want to put your, you want to lay your happiness on those sort of feeble things. It's always going to mess with your joy. It's always going to mess with your peace. So you want to make sure that you manage your expectations when it comes to people, when it comes to things and all of that, just so, for your own sake, for your own sanity, just so that you don't lose your joy on very, very trivial things, and before you know it, you're spiraling down the wrong lane. So now I'm going to get in with my moisturizer, and today I'm using the La Roche-Posay Cica Plus Balm Moisturizer. And this is a moisturizer for very dry skin. Sorry guys, I had a long phone call, so I had to take a short break. So the next thing I wanted to talk about that could meddle with your joy, your happiness, your peace, could be repeated negative patterns. And what I want you to do in this case is recognize your pattern, recognize your triggers as a person, things that put you in a bad mood, things that put you in a bad place. Now, this one is where the tough work is, and that is also recognizing the things that you do that puts you in a bad place. This is something that I started recognizing about myself just a short while ago. It's easy to always push blames and just look at other people and project the things that are going on with us on other people, and then like constantly see other people like the problem without looking inwards. While that could be true, while it could be that people could actually be the problem in certain cases, but it's not always the case. Like they would say, it takes two to tango, and if you do have a negative pattern in your life that sabotages your peace and all of that. For example, I would speak for myself. There is something that I would usually do, and while I was thinking it was a good thing for me, on my part, it would usually put me in a bad place in like my relationships with like other people. For example, I'm someone that struggles with trust, like trusting people, and while that could be a good thing, I would normally run to protect myself. When I feel like something might be going, a little fishy and whatnot, I would run to protect myself from that thing. And once I do that, I start making decisions that I'm not supposed to make, like quick decisions, impulse decision. Oh, this thing is going, like, let me just do this, let me just do that. And then it puts me in a negative light or in a bad light with like other people. What I would do is, if I notice something is going wrong, I would quickly want to fix things and probably just want to replace my romantic focus. And then as at that point, I'm putting myself in a sabotaging situation that questions my character, and then what that would do is just put me in a very bad light. Maybe while I'm making that fast decision, I'm then realizing that, oh, I wasn't supposed to do it that way and whatnot, and probably by then I had already ruined the situation. And then at that point, I'm now feeling bad and feeling like if this person didn't do this, it wouldn't have been this way and whatnot and whatnot. But then I also played a part in putting myself in that position. So for a long time, or I should say for the longest, I was always just avoiding the blame, just pushing blames and being like, oh, this was that and whatnot. I needed to call myself to order when it has to do with this particular thing. And then at this point, I had no other choice than to start telling myself the truth. This happens this way because you do things this way, and then this happens. And while this can be an example, there are other cases while you could be doing something actually good, and I have an example like that as well, but then you're not putting the right boundaries in place. Now let me use an example. Like, you could be this amazing person, you could have this amazing personality, you're always bringing people close to you, and then you don't set boundaries or anything, you just let people in like that, and before you know it, humans are humans, they enter your space, they meddle with your peace and whatnot. But if you had created healthy boundaries in the beginning, you wouldn't have even gotten to that point in the first place. So you need to recognize things about you that puts you in a bad place. I'm going to use sunscreen now just because it's daytime and I might be going outside after this. And now this point sort of bleeds into my next point, which is setting boundaries. Now this is so important. I can't even overemphasize how important it is to set boundaries if you must enjoy peace in your life. Now we often just have this bad attitude of not putting things in place, not taking accountability for things we're supposed to take accountability of, and then we put ourselves in positions where we end up feeling bad. For example, we enter into, let's say, romantic relationships, we don't set boundaries before we know. And now, if I must tell you the truth, toxic people, or I should say toxicity, thrives where there are no boundaries. So if you're having like relationships with like other people and all of that, and you don't set boundaries in place to sort of protect your own peace and whatnot, it puts you in a position where these toxic things thrive in your life. Now, the easiest way to recognize toxic people or situations is that they don't respect boundaries. And if you don't have boundaries in place, they are going to, just dive all the way in and put you in positions that you would not like to be. So what you want to do is set boundaries in place. And that was why I was saying that the other points bleeds into this one, because once you've recognized like your negative patterns and the things that you do, you create boundaries for your own self to make sure you don't put yourself in certain situations anymore. You create boundaries for other people to make sure that they don't also put you in bad situations anymore that steal your peace and your joy. Now, while creating boundaries could seem like such a stern and principled thing to do, it is one of the most positive things that you can do for yourself. Also, when I speak of setting boundaries, this could also be for positive things as well. If you don't want your positives to turn into negatives, you might want to set boundaries in place that protects your positivity. For example, if you're somebody that is open, you just easily bring people in, it's easy for you to just let yourself go around people and all of that. You just have this, very nurturing nature and all of that. What you would want to do is set boundaries in place where, as much as you're exuding this grace, this personality and all of that, you don't do it in a way that brings pain to you. For example, if you're somebody that loves to, just help people and all of that, you don't necessarily need to bring people too close to you to be able to help them, because what that can do to you if they are not supposed to be in your life, it could lead to hurt, it could lead to disappointments, So what you want to do is create a way that you can help people from a distance. Let's say, for example, you have this gift, you have this nature of talking to people, talking them out of bad situations and whatnot. You don't necessarily have to bring people in and make them become your friend. Now, it is not wrong to bring people close, don't get me wrong, but if your spirit so accepts them, but in situations where you're just careless, you just let every Tom, Dick and Harry into your life, into your space, into your aura, it can even mess with your, what you're providing them with. It can mess with the peace, with where you draw that strength from, with the source. Once your peace and your mental health starts struggling, you can't really fully be that person that you're even supposed to be to them. There are people that have their demons, you can't, as much as you want to help them, you have the passion to help, you can't really just bring them in, that they bring those demons into your life. You help them from your standpoint, from where you can, until they are able to fight those demons. And then if it gets to the point where they can now assess you on a more personal level, then you can let that happen. But always be on the outlook. Now, I'm not saying be a paranoid person. I'm saying be a more sensitive person. Don't just let everything happen around your space. Sometimes it just makes the noise too much. It makes it makes your vision not even clear. So you want to stay very careful with that. Now, another way to create a happier life for yourself is anchoring your faith in something, someone. And now this has to be something supernatural. Like I earlier said, you cannot put your expectations, your trust, your faith in people, but you can do that in God, whatever you believe in. Some people believe in the universe, some people believe in like other things, but whatever sits right with your spirituality, make sure that your faith is anchored in something, someone greater than yourself, someone higher than you. Now I'm gonna start my makeup now, and the first thing that I like to do is get into my face with a loose powder after applying my sunscreen. So I just set that in to make sure that my skin doesn't get oily as we move. So you want to make sure that your faith is anchored in something or someone other than you. For me as a person, my faith is anchored in Christ Jesus, and that is where I draw strength and inspiration and just pour out my bad days, my good days and everything, my gratitude and everything in. But for you, it might be something else, it might be someone else, it might be what you believe in. I mean, can you go through this life alone? You can't. And that is one thing that messes with our peace a lot, because we just keep trusting in our own abilities and, instead of, trusting in the ability of, someone that is greater and higher than us, and then just hoping and praying that our life becomes what we would like it to become through him, through that. Like for me, like I said, through Christ, I couldn't live this life alone without just anchoring my faith in Christ and just believing that everything that I hope to become, everything that I have planned, and even the ones that I don't have planned yet, I couldn't just live life without anchoring all of that in him. I would trust in myself to do what? What can I do for myself? I really can't do anything. Like, we live in this life that is borrowed, that is not even ours. We don't even know which day is our day, and and all of that. We pray to live long. Of course we are going to live long. Can't predict life. We just wake up and just hope that things go our way on certain days, and some days they don't. So now I'm going to go into my skin with my foundation, and here I'm using the NARS. I think this is the light reflecting foundation, and I just use just 2 to 3 pumps on my face. I don't use a lot of foundation at all because my skin really doesn't need to be covered or anything like that. I just use foundation to just have that sleek look. But yeah, that's as much foundation as I put on my skin. Work that in. Making sure that you anchor your faith in someone higher than you would help you keep grounded, because on days you cannot trust yourself, then you can trust on the ability of your higher self. Like for me, there's even no day that I trust in myself. I don't have anything to trust. There's no day I trust myself at all. Of course, our human nature, we want to figure out things for ourselves. How can this be done? How can that be done? How can we get this and that and that and that done? We want to meddle. But for me, I always just try to come back to the feet of God and just be like, God, I can't do this. And I trust in your ability through me to have this for me. That is one way to definitely, keep yourself grounded. Once you realize that you can't do something for yourself, then you just start panicking. It puts you in that space of anxiety, and before you know, you're spiraling into depression. Now, when you're anchoring your faith in someone, something higher than yourself, like a higher self, make sure that you don't just anchor your faith with your lips and whatnot. Try to just trust. What is the point if you cannot trust? That is pretty much useless. Then you can just withdraw your faith. If you don't trust, you're still in the position, or you're still in the mental space where you're trying to figure out things for yourself. So it's pretty much useless, because where our stress comes from is when we are constantly trying to figure out everything. So just leave it. For me, I leave it to God. So just leave it to God. Let things work out. Don't pressure yourself too much. Now this brings me to my next point of getting rid of comparison. This is a very, very great point. Comparison is such a thief of joy. I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty concealer. There's easily things to just compare yourself with. For example, the world that we live now, the social media age and everything. You get online, everything is happening. This person is doing this person is doing that. Sometimes strangers that you don't even know, they seem to be doing so well, but they are your age mates and all of that. So you are there thinking, what is going on in my own life? Why is my own life not lifing? I'm just going to let this sit for a few seconds while we keep talking. So you comparing yourself to like other people on the internet, people around you, what you're doing to yourself is trying to remind yourself how you're not enough, how you're not adequate, how you are not doing well and all of that. And what that does to you is mentally puts you in a terrible place. What that does is that you're putting yourself in a position where you're dragging yourself with the pace of someone else that has a different life from you. Sometimes you need to also realize that what we see on social media, it's not real at all. I think I use a lot of concealer today. Oh my god. The fastest way for you to know that social media is not real is that most of us, we don't post in real time. Contents are not organic. We don't just and post, we edit them, make it look nice the way we would like people to see, make it aesthetically pleasing and all of that. So when you see that, you're like, oh my god, this one is living such a perfect life and all of that. But it's not the case. They just know how to create. Now this is not necessarily wrong. People just know how to present their life in a more pleasing to look manner right now because of the social media age. I mean, like, we are in an age where like this is available, so everyone is exploring it. Now everyone is trying to be better at creating content, at doing things, we are in the social media age where everyone is, you know, a content creator right now, and which is a good thing and also not such a good thing. Making sure that you don't compare yourself with people, and if you do realize that you're doing this, you might want to take a step back and withdraw yourself from such positions. For example, this sort of also ties into my other points where I was saying that you should recognize your negative patterns and also your triggers. You know, if you realize that social media is triggering you in a way that it is dragging you into positions that you don't want to be, then get rid of that platform that is, you know, doing that to you until you can handle it. There's nothing wrong with taking a break from social media. You're not missing out on anything, I promise you. If anything, you are protecting your peace and your mental health, and that is the real growth, not, you know, posting content or looking at people's content and all of that. I mean, I use the Fenty contour stick to contour. So yeah, don't be an architect of your own pain. I use the Fenty contour stick to contour. And now I'm just going to get in with my contour brush. And if you notice that you're mostly around people that make you compare yourself to them, while that might be a negative attitude on your part, you would need to work on such a mindset. If you notice that when you get around certain people you become envious and all of that, remove yourself from that position. It's very easy to get into it, but that is a thing of the mind, so you would need to work on your own mind. But while you're doing that, realize that that triggers you and then take yourself out of it. That is a way to protect your happiness. Now, sometimes it's always hard to tell ourselves the truth. For example, it's hard for you to tell yourself the truth that you're being envious of someone else, but you would have to tell yourself that truth. The Bible would say that you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. Expose the truth to yourself. Once you do, you're able to help yourself properly. No one can help you, or you cannot even help yourself on the lies. Imagine that you're in therapy and then you're lying to your therapist, right? How will your therapist be able to help you? So see it the same for yourself. If you're lying to your own self, how would you be able to help yourself? Staying away from comparisons and recognizing your negative patterns when it has to do with certain things and telling yourself the actual truth would definitely help you in, you know, working towards a mental space where you become a happier person. Now, next thing that I will do is get into the contour of my face with my blush. And yeah, I don't have a blush. I use this eyeshadow palette from Juvia's Place. I've had this for a while and I'm trying to touch pan on all my makeup products, so I just put that on my cheekbone like this. Next point that I want to talk about is making sure to give. Giving just makes you feel better about yourself. Giving just puts you in a better position. Now, speaking on giving, it doesn't have to be money. You could donate towards a cause. You could, you know, donate stuff, donate clothes, donate, you know, anything to just, you know, make other people's lives easier somewhere. People that have it, you know, worse than you, puts you in a happier place, you know, just having this fulfillment in you that, oh, you're, you know, helping someone out there that could really be in need. And do not forget that givers never lack. So as much as you're giving to other people, God is seeing that, and, you know, God is also taking care of your own situation as well and making sure that you're kept and that you're well and that you're provided for you to even be a blessing to someone else. That would mean that you have the capacity, right? And while we are giving to other people, not because we are wanting to be rewarded or whatnot, but I want to tell you that giving does not go unnoticed. God wants us to give to the poor. He wants us to take care of other people around us. He wants us to be better human beings. He wants us to serve others as well. So you could give in different ways. You can give by service. You could do something nice for the community. You could do something nice. Anything that you can do that just, you know, pours into humanity. that would absolutely be great for you and will contribute to, you know, giving you like a happier life. And like I said, it doesn't have to be money stuff, even the community service or whatnot. You could give compliments to people. And when I say give compliments, I mean genuine compliments. If you go out there and you see something that you admire, compliment it. You see someone that you admire, compliment it. You know, like it takes nothing from you. It could be greetings. You know, you see someone, you say hi to them, you just greet them. You know, all these things, making someone else happy can also, you know, brighten your life in a way. Apart from giving compliments, also receive compliments. Be open to receiving more. Don't put yourself in a box and don't make yourself so stiff. And also another thing that I want to point out is also believing that you're deserving of good things. Like there's people that have such a wrong mentality and a wrong mindset, maybe because of experiences, things that have happened in their life. They've just come to a point where they don't believe that they are deserving of anything good in their life, or anything good can even happen to them. Please, please, and please work on removing yourself from that mindset, because that's even the mindset that can greatly put you in a terrible place, because you feel like you're not deserving of things. So these things don't come to you because you're putting out an energy, you're putting out an aura that you don't deserve these things, so they don't come to you. So open up yourself to receiving more, to, you know, deserving more things. Believe to yourself that you deserve, and before you know, these things start coming to you. You see how, you know, on YouTube here they talk about the concept of abundance, they talk about, you know, attraction and all of that. All those things are truly true. You know, when you open up yourself to like certain things, they start manifesting in your life. And when you close off yourself to certain things as well, they, you know, they stay away from you as well. For example, I went to see my esthetician yesterday. I had an appointment. So when I saw her, she was genuinely looking so beautiful to me. So I gave her a compliment. I was like, oh, you look so beautiful. She was like, oh no, you know, I'm tired and blah, blah. I was like, no, stop it, you look beautiful. So she was, at that point, she called herself back to order and she was like, oh, thank you so much. Now, not that I was trying to teach her or anything, but I sort of wanted her to realize that she's actually deserving of a compliment, because she's actually a beautiful woman, you know. Now I'm going to go in with my eyeliner now. So I had gone and drawn 2 different eyeliners because I was talking. But yeah, what I was trying to say is that refusing people's compliments could also be a way of throwing it back at their face, like, oh my god, your judgment of me is not okay, or your judgment of this situation, my outfit and whatnot, is not okay, you're blind, you're not seeing well, and all of that. It's sort of rude. So you want to make sure that as much as you give, you also are open to receiving. So in a way, it makes you more graceful. It even helps to boost your confidence as well. And you know, a confident woman is somewhat a happy woman. So now I'm just gonna line my lips with my lip liner. So I like to overline my lips just a little. Next, I'm going to go in with my MAC Velvet Teddy lipstick. And after that, I'm going to go on with my Fenty gloss bomb, I think, in Hot Cherry. So voila, we're done with the lips, and this is what my makeup is giving at the moment. Lastly, I'm going to go on with my mascara, and here I'm using the Huda Beauty Legit Lash. So now moving on to the last thing that I want to share, and that would be smiling more. As simple and as easy as this sounds, and as unproductive as it may sound, try this. If you start smiling more and start expressing, you know, your, you know, happiness through your smile more, you become somebody that smiles more, or you become somebody that finds reasons to smile more. You just notice that it turns from smiles to laughters. Now, coming from somebody that is always having, like, you know, like this resting face. Now, coming from someone that would always have that sort of face, and I started having this face at a very young age because I grew up so fast, so I would get lots of advances from men, you know, men approaching me and all of that at a very young age. So the way that I thought I could protect myself was always keeping like a tough face and look. So I sort of just grew into that character that I'm always like having my face like, you know. So it sort of became like a habit to me, and over time I always would find reason whenever I'm outside to just keep a very, you know, mean face and whatnot. Now, while that was something that I sort of grew into, it wasn't a graceful way of carrying myself, because it just exudes sometimes bad energy, you know, she's stuck up, she's this, she's that. And then I often wondered why people perceived me as somebody that was stuck up and all of that. But because I knew that I had a different personality, you know, behind the whole facade. But then when I started just opening up more, smiling more when I'm outside, I sort of took note of that, and then I started smiling more, you know, just opening myself up more outside, not in a disrespectful manner or not in a way that makes me rowdy or unclassy, but in a way that shows that I carry myself well as a lady. I just started receiving a lot more positive, you know, vibe towards me, and it just sort of made me feel better about myself, and it created like a happier mental space for me, because then I didn't sit around wondering why people don't like me anymore. And it just also helped me to build a bit more confidence in myself. I have always been a confident person, but this time around, you know, I was able to identify something that wasn't, you know, working well or working in my favor, so I sort of turned that into a positive thing that has been helping me as well, you know, build more confidence with my life. So it helped me to also trust my own judgment of myself. It just opened me up to, you know, receiving more joy and laughter and smiles in my life, which has drastically improved my life as well. Now I've got to tell you guys that I am still in the journey of discovering more things and more ways that I can make my life happier, but I'm just sharing these ones with you as at this moment. Obviously these are not the only things that can help you to create a happier life for yourself. As we go, we can always learn more and share in this journey as well. But yeah, these are the things that I wanted to share with you in this video today, and I hope it helps somebody out there one way or the other. I would be glad if this video was useful to anyone out there at all. I would like to be filming more like this. Actually, I totally enjoyed this video. Let me know if you would like this type of videos where your good sis will just be sharing her beauty routine or activity and also sharing some good word with you as well. Let me know. I would absolutely like to know your thoughts towards this video. So that'll be all for the video today. Make sure to thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. Make sure that you're subscribed if you're not, and stay beautiful, stay gorgeous, and stay blessed. Love you so much. Mwah.